Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cyber Pro podcast, where industry leaders share their insights because hackers never sleep. Today, we have Mr. Dr. Max Justice. Man, I should have said Dr. Max Justice. But anyways, Max, excited. You've been on the podcast in year one, so 2 years ago,
Oh, wow.
and you killed it then. But we love to have you back. I'm glad you're able to make it back. So Max, talk to us. Tell us a little bit about who you are and why you're awesome.
Oh, wow. I still have to ask myself that every day, actually. But who am I? Of course, thanks for that intro, Dr. Max Justice. Uh, uh, some people call me a cybersecurity SME guru, subject matter expert. Some people know me by some other names. Some are meant for the airwaves, some are not. So really, it depends on the frame of reference and the listening audience, if you will, of who I am and what I know and what I do. Because there's a far other rabbit hole all about mushrooms, and I would take up way too much time to go down that one today.
I love it. I love it. And we'll probably hit some of those on the bonus questions. So make sure you guys are bouncing around between some of the content here. But let's kick it off with this. Maps, what recent evolutions have you noticed in the cybersecurity landscape?
Oh wow! Uh, uh, if this isn't the answer that everyone's not going to say, I'm almost going to be shocked. Uh, Artificial intelligence, AI and machine learning, as well as supply chain. Those are really the two biggies nowadays. AI, it's just increasing more and more uh, from the chipset to even physical security really isn't physical security anymore. It's cyber security almost. So those are the things that I'd say are the evolutions of security. And then uh, having that increased focus on supply chain, it, uh, going beyond our own infrastructure. Who would have thought that? I mean, the fact that we're going to levy requirements on somebody else. Well, yeah, because it makes full sense, and also it makes us more aware of what our partners are doing. And a prime example, SolarWinds. Nobody had a clue what was going on. Now, that happens in other organizations as well, whether it was federal space or cyber organizations. Uh, we need to understand our uh, developers more. And just that the latest cyber breach is just one of many other examples.
I love it. I love it. And it's interesting that we talk about artificial intelligence, machine learning, right? You and I both have been around long enough to know that this isn't new to security, right? We've had some form of analytics, behavioral anomalous detection, all this other crazy stuff. But why do you think AI is back to being a hot topic?
For AI, it's really the fact that it can find or parse through the data so quick. It, uh, we in security love to record everything. Where are the logs? Show me the logs. But we can't parse through all the data. I remember back in the day, you probably were there as well, where you actually had to read the flipping logs. And it would take you forever and literally sometimes months to truly go through a log to find the bad actors. Whereas now AI can find that needle in a haystack and can do it so quick. So that's definitely one of the things that I think is why the it's become so dominant in security.
I love it. Let's pivot just a little bit. Are there any, besides artificial intelligence, or maybe you have something here, but are there any emerging technologies or trends or even approaches that you're excited about?
Oh yeah, boy, there's so many. Whether uh, some people don't realize that even management is a technology. So we kind of have to keep that in mind because in modern day that we live in, almost everything is a technology. and we're just integrating digital technology with us. And that integration is going to come through quantum cryptography, quantum computing. The quantum space has been building for the last 10 years, and it's beyond that hype cycle now. It's truly adding value to the end user. And we're seeing that use in the cloud. You can go to the cloud and rent a quantum computational space. Uh, Another one that really intrigues me is face wearable computing. The Army calls it integrated visual augmentation system. I'll let you folks go down that rabbit hole and be prepared to have a couple of hours because whenever you start seeing that integrated visual augmentation system, you're like, and this coming from a guy who researches this kind of stuff all day. And then another one of those jaw droppers I would say is liquid networks. There's only a handful of people playing this space right now. It's truly a revolutionary class of AI that mimics neural processes. Um, a- and that there's not a whole lot of um, data supporting it because it's so new. I don't think liquid networks has been around a few years at best, and I want to say it came out of the UK. I can't quite remember because I'm constantly researching, and there's no way I can remember everything in that VFOGI, vast fund of general information.
I love it. I love it. So we talked a little bit about evolutions and emerging tech, but what do you feel today is a critical aspect of a robust cyber strategy for most organizations?
Um, Really, the defense in depth approach is probably one of the most robust. Uh, we, I love the fact that I came up as an engineer, and as an engineer, I learned very quickly everything breaks. As if I didn't know that enough whenever I was a kid growing up. I broke tons of bones. In fact, some would be amazed that I'm actually alive. Uh, so the defense in depth approach, if you know that something's going to break, you're you don't have to freak out or panic too much because you have another layer. Actually practice the same philosophy on my farm. I try not to have a single threaded aspect to any of the processes on my farm. And as long as I have built in redundancy, I'm not sweating it when it breaks or when it gets hacked because we know it's going to get hacked.
Right. So this has been a great conversation. I love just where you've taken us on this journey. But now, unfortunately, we have to end. Tons of bonus content going to be coming around. But to end on, we once asked you what your favorite piece of retro technology was, and you can go back and find that. It was a great response. But today, I want to know, what is that piece of technology that you just can't live without?
Oh, wow. Well, darn it. The reason why I hesitate, there are it's not technology that I can't live without. Technology, it's easy to live without. In fact, I'm trying to go more towards that aspect each and every day of my life. It's not that I'm running away from technology. In fact, I fully think that one day I'm going to have to plug in, especially if I'm going to be in cybersecurity. Uh, it's when an AI and a human are paired together that we're unstoppable. And so Neuralink and the others are trying to make sure that we can get there. Um, so I do worry that I'm going to have to get that, and at that point in time, I'm not going to be able to live without that type of technology. But really, what I can't live without now is it's this. It's this human relationship. But really, we even need to move beyond the digital space. We need to go hug somebody. We need to touch somebody. And I tell my wife every single day, in fact, multiple times a day, how much I love her. Um, we have to practice human interaction more and more. And that's what we can't live without. In fact, the longest running study on longevity is done by Harvard, still ongoing today. There's a great book on it. I think it's called the Longevity Study, but it's been studying. It started out with men, now it's men and women, and their children. Now it's been going on for so long, even their grandchildren, and it's seeing what gets a person to live the longest. What enables people to make it to be a centenarian? And it's this. It's what we're doing. It's human contact, human relationship, getting out there and telling someone that you love somebody because you're doing things inside this DFOGI that it needs. And if you don't do that, it's you're going to kill yourself. So go love someone.
I love it. Max, Dr. Justice, thank you so much for being on the Cyber Pro podcast again.
Always a pleasure, Rick. I love being here, and I thank you for what you do.
Thank you for tuning into the Cyber Pro podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on new podcasts and all of our cool bonus content.